very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wasn't expecting to make a speech today. I didn't know that there was a slot today for valedictory speeches. So yesterday I spoke about the importance of the NHS in the statement and said that that would be the end. But I saw Mr. Speaker last night, and he explained that today some time will be given over. Having had the whip restored this week to the Conservative Party, I'm delighted to say that many colleagues have asked me to have said you should go and say something and reflect. And I'll start by saying what an honour it is to follow the member for Barking, who taught me an enormous amount when I was a new member of Parliament, because I served on her Public Accounts Committee. It was actually our Public Accounts Committee in theory, but as chair, it was very much her Public Accounts Committee. And one of the jobs I undertook to do was to ensure that I read every single word of every single draft report, because what she was so brilliant at was occasionally sticking... She's laughing, which I take as an admission of guilt here. She knows what I'm going to say as well. Sticking in a sentence that really put the boot into the government and putting it on about page 29 and hoping that nobody else in the committee would notice. And I took it on myself to read the detail, and I learnt that from her. I have found serving in this House, of course, to be the privilege of my life. I'm sure we all feel that. And I agree so strongly with the words of the former Prime Minister, the member for Maidenhead, and also the former Defence Secretary, in terms of the importance and the value of public service. Politics, no matter how difficult it can be, politics is public service, because in a democracy it is the only way to translate the will of the people into the governance of the nation. And we are the channels through which that should happen. I want to thank some people who've helped make this happen for me. I want to thank the people who got me into politics in the first place, in particular Dr. Michael Hart. He's also the man who spotted my dyslexia. And Nick St Aubin, he's the man who suffered most from my dyslexia because I was his agent in the 2001 general election. He was the member for Guildford. And if I may retell this terrible story, he wrote his election address and I put it into a very early version of PowerPoint. And he wrote this lovely phrase, "I want to unite the community." And I thought this was great, and I put it into the headline. And it was only when 42,000 of these election addresses had been delivered that he picked it up from his own doormat and said, "Matt, why have you written, 'I want to untie the community'?" He took it very well, but unfortunately he lost the seat. And I didn't speak about my dyslexia for 20 years after that because of the shame that it brought me. But he also forgave me, which was a truly heroic act. I want to thank my staff here, in particular Helen Dudley, who retired recently a few years ago, and Elizabeth Hitchcock, and the countless others who've supported me in my office here in Parliament, but those two have always held the thing together. And especially in times in government when it is hard to give as much time as you would want to your constituency duties, they really have acted. Frankly, I think both of them were preferred in West Suffolk and did a much better job than I could have done. I want to thank all the civil servants who served and I worked so closely with, and also put in a word for special advisors. Just one short story about why special advisors are such a valuable and important part of our political system. In the pandemic, there was a moment just after we'd started the vaccination programme, and we had you might remember, we had an interval, a gap between giving the two doses of the vaccine. I can't remember exactly how long it was. Was it 12 weeks? And one of my political special advisors spotted a tweet from an American statistician which said that because the impact of the first vaccine is so much greater than the impact of the second, if you reduce the gap in weeks between the first and the second, then you will save many lives. He spotted this tweet. He brought the tweet to me. I took it to Professor Whitty and to Professor Van Tam, who were the clinical leads. They ran the maths. They verified it. We spoke to the regulators. And despite this being novel, within 9 days, we took this from a tweet spotted from an American statistician to government policy announced here, and it was followed throughout the world. And that is calculated alone to have saved 10,000 lives in the UK. There's many, many more staff I'd like to thank. And of course, those in West Suffolk. Dorothy Whittaker, Lance Stanbury and Bobby Bennett, my 3 agents over the years. And as the former Defence Secretary said, also my family, and in particular my children, because the impact of the scrutiny of politics, especially when people make mistakes, has a huge impact on them, and they have put up with a lot. But it's in the nature of politics that people don't see what a team effort it is. Many people have said that today. What will I miss most? I will miss the single answer to that question, and absolutely unambiguous, I will miss colleagues most. In difficult times, colleagues supporting you, both on this side and across the House, has been incredibly powerful. I'll miss the ability to contribute to national debates. The single vote I'm regretting not being able to take part in is the vote on assisted dying, which surely will come, and which I've come to support very passionately. But politics also, I'd reflect, is noisier and is harder than it was 14 years ago when I first came into Parliament. The nature of social media has made it more difficult, and the nature of the world has made it, sadly, more dangerous. But even through this, one of the things I've tried to promote in my time is the power of technology as a force for good. It's something that the Honourable Member for Huddersfield and I have both campaigned on together over the years. Yes, we must ensure that it is harnessed for the power, for the technology is harnessed for the benefit of humanity. But by God, we've got to make sure harness it we do. We cannot stand in the way, and the UK is at its best when we're at the forefront and when we harness the power of modern technology. And my prediction over the next 14 years is that the impact will be far greater on society, not just on the economy, but on society and politics, than it has been even over the last 14 years. We are living through the slowest rate of change of our lives. It is only going to get faster, and I hope that this place is ready for that. And I couldn't I couldn't finish without a word about the NHS and the role that it plays in our national life. The Right Honourable Lady, the member for Maidenhead, asked me to be Health Secretary and said we need to improve the tech in the health service. Could you do that? And for 18 months, I thoroughly enjoyed myself trying to improve the tech in the health service. But then, of course, the pandemic struck. And I want, for one last time, to say thank you to all of those who rose to the occasion and did so much to get us through, to deliver the safety that was needed, for instance, the shielding programme, which isn't mentioned as much as it should be for protecting those who were most vulnerable. And, of course, the vaccine programme, which was, without doubt, one of the country's finest achievements in peacetime. I want to thank colleagues with whom I work incredibly closely and who helped make that happen. And some of you were heroes of the pandemic too. And I leave just with this. I think it is impossible for a political party, those aspiring to govern, to win without some of these lodestars. It is impossible and wrong to win without being on the side of the future and trying to represent the youth of our country who are coming through and may see things differently to how we do. I say that even as a 45-year-old. It is impossible to win, and you don't deserve to win without a true love of the NHS. And I'm proud to serve a Prime Minister who is from an NHS family. But that true love is important because the people believe it and because it is true. Finally, it is impossible to win unless you truly want to serve your country. I believe that people come into this place, everybody comes into this place wanting to make their country a better place. I've tried my hardest to do that for 14 years, to reach out, to try to do things differently, and to try to embrace the future. It's been an honour and a privilege, and I thank you.
You actually made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.